Okay, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. And the topic of the email was the luck of the Irish. And the question is, was I just lucky with this book, or was there some skill involved? So let's talk about that. And the book we're talking about, of course, is the book I wrote about banking, banking failures, bank runs, and how to protect your wealth. So let's take a look at the results of the book because it's nice to create a book in a day. I don't know anybody else that's ever done that. Do you? Do you know anybody that's ever gone from zero to a book in the Amazon store in less than 24 hours? Maybe I'm sure somebody's done it, right? But that was only part of the exercise. The other part of the exercise is to getting the book ranked highly in Amazon. In fact, that's the more important part of the exercise. Uh, a huge number of books are sold by Amazon, and they control most of the online market. And if you want to put something fast, obviously, into people's hands via book, there is no better way than Amazon. I'm not necessarily a fan of Amazon, but it works. It works. So part of it is getting the book done, and I think I demonstrated that. Well, I did demonstrate that a credible book can be created in a day, and can be for sale the next day. But the more important thing is, how do you get attention to the book? And the simplest way to get attention for a book, the simplest, there are many ways. You would take an encyclopedia to explain all the ways to market books. But one fast, quick, dirty, easy, whatever you want to call it, way to do that is to win in key categories on Amazon. And that will put you basically on the top of the stack of a whole bunch of people's minds. So here's the results that we've got already, based on the book that we did on banking just Monday, right? I'm recording this on Friday. The book was written Monday. It was in the store Tuesday, and here's some of the success that we've had. Okay, those are pretty good categories to be winning in. Wealth preservation is a good one. I know a lot of financial planners who spend a lot of money on advertising that wish they could have a book up there in the financial planning category. And if you are one of those people, give me a call. And if you can write a huge check, maybe I'll help you. Um, but anyway, that's the full exercise. Actually, it's part one, right? If I really wanted to market this book, there are many, many, many other things I would do to market it. But it was a demo project. A lot of people have been talking about AI. Some people are starting to understand how powerful books are. And I thought I would just do a demo of how it really works, cutting through all the bullshit, right? Because as you know, everybody is now an artificial intelligence expert, and they all have, big seminars and big packaged things, and they're going to change the world. They're going to change your life. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, for the people that don't know, in 1994, which was, wow, that's almost 30 years ago, I organized the very first conference on the subject of the web as a marketing medium. It was in San Francisco, November 5th, 1994. San Francisco, the big tech capital of the world. And I took a very similar approach to the web as I'm taking to AI now. I tell the truth, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And I show you how to use it, right? So that's what this is. My System Club members are going to have already received quite a bit of training. They're going to receive a whole lot more. It's part of their System Club membership. A lot of people are, and the reason I bring this up is a lot of people are writing me, hey, you're going to do a course. Can you tell me how you did it? And blah, 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 blah. It's kind of hard for me to do the thing and then also work with my System Club members who are basically, they pay me, right? And then to work up a course for the rest of the world. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I won't say never. But right now, that's the way to do it. You join the System Club, and you will get all the answers that I have to do if you want to duplicate what I've done. But there's more. Okay, I didn't publish just one book this week. I published another book. Okay, this was not written with the help of artificial intelligence. This is a labor of love that I've been I wasn't really working on the book since 2006, but I started the process of gathering the information in 2006. That book is right here. And some of you know that I'm a huge jazz fan. That I was involved in the aftermath of Katrina, helping a lot of different groups and individuals. And I spent several months a year, every year down there. It was the adventure of a lifetime for me. And I finally got around to putting some of that experience in a book. And it just was a coincidence that the same week that this banking thing became an issue, was the same week that my New Orleans book was ready to submit to Amazon, to the Amazon store. So just one of those things. We published 2 books in 1 week. And by the way, here are the results for that project. Okay, the luck of the Irish, I guess. Um, Not really, right? Not really. If you want to understand luck, and sometimes there is luck, right? Sometimes you're walking down the street and there's $100 bill in the road. That's kind of luck, you know. But luck is situational awareness, paying attention to what's going on. 2, building up a big skill set, or finding an alliance or a team of people that have collectively have the skills that are needed to execute whatever you're trying to execute, and then being able to pull the trigger fast. Okay. That's the closest thing that I know of for creating luck, right? Situational awareness, which is something you just work on all the time. It's like a muscle. So, you know, if you want it to be strong, just use it a lot, right? If you want it to become flaccid and not have situational awareness, just ignore it. And I guarantee you it will go away, right? The second thing is skill building, not just one skill. Learn as many skills as you can. You know, you're not going to learn them all in one day, but you know, there are some key skills in this world. One of them is copywriting. By the way, copywriting doesn't necessarily only mean writing sales letters. Copywriting is a way of thinking, and that is in my advanced copywriting and info marketing course, which many very successful people have taken, and has been a transformational experience for some of them. Some of them were already very successful, but there are some people that, you know, were sort of journeymen. And after they took that class, they were on the road to a totally different existence. So anyway, copywriting, I think, is a very important skill for everybody to learn, even if you're never going to write copy for other people, because there's an infinite number of times when you need to come up with the right angle, the right words, the right pitch, the right positioning, the right story. And again, it's a muscle. Right? If you go to the copywriting gym and work that muscle out on a regular basis, you will be formidable. If you don't do anything to develop that muscle, you'll be the proverbial 80-pound weakling. You know, the only difference between the 80-pound weakling and the formidable guy is the formidable guy goes to the gym, right? So in any event, you know, situational awareness, which copywriters develop. Skill set, copywriting being an excellent skill to have. And then the third one is, look, when the opportunity's there, jump. Don't think about it. Don't meditate on it. Are there typos maybe in my banking book? Probably. Are there grammatical errors? Probably. Not by ChatGPT, by the way, but by me. Are there punctuation errors? Maybe. You know, by the way, that book, just so everybody knows, I wrote the introduction. Me, the human being, wrote that introduction. I write fast because I write a lot. I wrote the epilogue because I write fast. I write a lot. But the core of the book was me asking GPT questions, chat GPT questions. And let me give you a little trick, a little inside baseball on that. This works very well if you know the subject very well going in. Okay. I know the financial markets really, really well. I actually worked on Wall Street in the 80s. And if I hadn't moved out to California and got involved in the internet, I might still be in that. And I spend way too much time every day going over market stuff because I'm interested in it, right? So when I'm asking GPT questions about banking, and how banking works and how the banking system works, why banks fail, how to protect yourself from failing banks and a crashing financial system. It's not theory to me. This stuff I've been thinking about, meditating about, reading about, researching for literally decades. So if you know a subject well, ChatGPT can help you because you can ask it a question and it will, answer the question. Now, what you need to this is why you need to be an expert. And this is one of the secrets of ChatGPT. Oh, and by the way, let me stop before I tell you this, some of the secrets of ChatGPT. Let me reveal one more thing. I didn't publish one book this week. I didn't publish 2 books this week. I actually published 3 books this week. And we'll be talking about that 3rd book starting right now. I originally started working on this book and had it finished, March 4th. But a whole bunch of other things intervened. One of them was the book, the bank failure book. And then, things come up. But anyway, the manuscript was finished on March 4th. I can't remember how long it took me to write, but it wasn't long. I mean, I just don't remember. But I mean, we're talking about a day or 2 days. Okay. And it's a question and answer book about artificial intelligence. So that was the first project that I worked on. It got tabled while I worked on the banking book and put the finishing touches on the New Orleans book. But that was the book I originally intended to put out. Okay. And I wrote the book the same way that I produced the banking book. I wrote the intro and I wrote the epilogue. Okay. And then I asked the questions. And I curated the ChatGPT answers because, and this is what I was going to tell you before, everybody needs to understand that ChatGPT does not consider accuracy a virtue. Okay. They're trying, but it's not their main goal. Okay. Now think about that. Their goal, and you have to go under the hood and talk to a lot of people to get this. Their goal is 75% accuracy, which means they fully know that 25% of their answers are wrong. Okay. And the whole world's acting like this is the greatest thing that ever happened. Okay. So if you know the subject and you can recognize when ChatGPT is completely wrong, or when ChatGPT is withholding information, which it also does, you can use ChatGPT as a tool to produce volume of information very fast. But if you think you're going to figure that, if you think you don't know a subject and you're going to be able to produce a useful book with ChatGPT, that ain't never going to happen. Let me tell you another thing that's never going to happen. You're never going to write great ad copy with ChatGPT. Okay. If you think that's going to happen, you really don't understand copywriting at all. All right. So this new book, the artificial intelligence question and answer book, I've just revealed one of the things that it shares, which I don't think I've heard anybody talk about: the fact that ChatGPT does not have its highest value accuracy. Right. Let me tell you something else about artificial intelligence that I haven't heard anybody else talking about. Artificial intelligence has been around a long, long time. In fact, artificial intelligence as a term, as a concept, as a goal, is older than personal computing itself. The term artificial intelligence was coined in, I think, 1956. Okay. Nobody came up with even the dream of personal computing until the late 1960s. So artificial intelligence is older. It is a much older thing. And a lot of money has been put into artificial intelligence research over the decades. A lot of it came from the government. A lot of it came from the military. A lot of it came from the intelligence agencies. Maybe somebody's talking about that. If they have, I've kind of missed it. What else are people not learning about ChatGPT? Everybody thinks ChatGPT is this brilliant machine, right, that just knows all and tells all. It's kind of occupying the place that the great oracles of ancient times. You would go to the oracle and you'd ask the oracle a question, and the oracle would miraculously give you this answer, and of course it would be correct. Okay, we already know 25% of what ChatGPT tells you is absolute false, right? But the other thing that nobody seems to be telling you is that it's not just a machine. There are hundreds of people reading the dialogues or the transcripts of these sessions and using it to manually update the data bank that ChatGPT is drawing on. Okay, it's not just this computer brain that knows all, sees all, organizes all. No, they've got all kinds of people checking and double checking and trying to figure out what the heck is going on and trying to improve the thing. Did anybody ever tell you that? I don't think so. I do. I go into that into the book. So there's a bunch of other stuff I'm trying to think offhand. Sometimes when you write a book fast, it's hard to remember all that you put into it. But I talk about the industry, right? Who the players are, who the funders are, what's the background of these guys. I also talk about something that, again, nobody else talks about. A lot of these tools that we're just seeing now have been operating behind the scenes for not a long time, the good tools that we're seeing now, but for years, like Google, Facebook, Twitter. A lot of this fancy Apple, a lot of this fancy stuff that we're oohing and ahhing over, they've had this stuff for years. Reuters, the big news outlet, they're like a news bureau. They're the ones that create the news that then gets syndicated. So if they tell a story, it gets syndicated over hundreds of different news outlets, thousands of different news outlets. They've had ChatGPT versions of it for years and have been using it to generate news stories. I don't think anybody's talked about that. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes. I also get under the hood of the technology. Now, you may not be into that kind of thing, but if you are, I'm looking for good sources that are comparable to what's in the book, and I'm not finding them. So if you want to know, what's going on, how they actually can create a machine that can spew out grammatically correct, no misspellings, but only 75% accuracy, we get into some of that technology. We also talk a little bit about practical uses for business people of ChatGPT in particular and artificial intelligence in general. And I get to the bottom line of what that is. And that's in the book. And if you want to know what that answer is, you're going to have to get the book. It doesn't take a lot of pages, interestingly enough, to explain that aspect of artificial intelligence. But I think it's good for people to know that this is not new. This has been many, many, many years in the making. Accuracy is not the goal. There are actually lots of human beings working around the clock behind the scenes. See, back in the late 1700s, there was a guy who created an automata, a robot chess player called the Turk, and it was like a machine, and the guy had a turban, and he played chess, and there was the Turk, and there was this big table, and the chessboard was on it, and back in the late 1700s, this machine could play chess. Okay. What people didn't know was, remember I said there was a big table? It was a box, big box. You getting the clue now? There was a literal man inside that box who could see the moving of the pieces. And using magnets, he could move the robot's hand to move the piece, make the robot's moves. Okay. I'm not saying ChatGPT is a fraud on that level, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that you don't know about. We get into that in the book. So this book was, again, I finished my part of it on March 4th. A lot of things came up, but we just published it this week, right? So this is, well, you'll see what it's all about. I'm going to send the links below. I recommend that you get it. If you want to get smart about artificial intelligence, really, really really fast. Now remember, 1994, which is next year, it's going to be 30 years ago, I put on the first conference on the use of the World Wide Web for business, first one in the world. Okay, there had been internet conferences and so on, but nobody said, okay, we're going to talk about the web and we're going to focus on practical uses of the web right now, right? And so this is what I do. This is what I do. So we're now, artificial intelligence has finally become a thing after percolating and marinating for decades and decades. And now everybody's talking about it. So I'd like you to have some good orientation towards it. So I used ChatGPT. I asked it questions about itself and about its history and about its background and about how it really works and how it doesn't work and a whole bunch of other things. I get into some dark stuff too, because there is some dark stuff behind artificial intelligence. People are worried about some distant future where artificial intelligence will take over the world. I'm not so much worried about that. And actually, the experts who really know artificial intelligence are not worried about that. But what people who know artificial intelligence are a little concerned about is all the nefarious purposes it's being used for right now. Like, we don't have to worry about some distant future where artificial intelligence is being abused. It's being abused right now. And ChatGPT posing as the tell-all, know-all, tell-all, all-seeing, genius of the high-tech world. That's not even a problem, because in comparison to some of the other things that are going on. And I get into that book. So this book is kind of a mixed bag. It's the history of AI. It's who the players are. It's who's funding it. By the way, Pentagon and intelligence agencies are the biggest funders of artificial intelligence. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that that is not mentioned in the news media? The news media is just a circus, right? I hope everybody understand that. Everything that you see on TV, everything is for all practical purposes a joke. Okay. Thanks to the internet, we occasionally have some people who actually know what they're talking about, sharing real information with you. But anything on that tube is a circus. Okay. The guys might as well have big red noses and big frizzy hair. Okay. But we don't look at it that way because they've got nice suits and everything's well lit and they're so well spoken. But your life will be much improved when you realize that the news is really an entertainment program. Okay. Masquerading as news. There's no news there at all, practically. It's all nonsense. But thanks to the internet, thank God the internet came along. There is little places where people who really know the real deal can share it with you. And we still have, Amazon has not banned good books yet, so we can actually get these books on Amazon and make them available to you. So anyway, long story short, this week I published not one, not two, but 3 books. Okay. One of the books is on banking and banking failures. It is a hit on Amazon. It's the number 1 new release for wealth preservation. I also published a book on New Orleans, which is, one of my, I love the music, I love the life, I love the food, I love the people, I love the whole bit. And then but the real book that I intended to publish this week was the Artificial Intelligence Question and Answer book. And it will give you practical insight into how to actually use it, how to think about it, right? And what you can realistically expect from it, and what you can't get from it. So if you're intent on dreaming and being in dreamland, by all means follow the gurus, right? But if you want to know what you can realistically expect, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's in this book. And then there's a lot of information that will give you the background, again, on the history, on the key concepts, who the key players are, and the things that we all have to be aware of, the less than savory ways that the powers that be are using artificial intelligence right now, this minute. We don't have to wait for some distant past. So forewarned is forearmed, and knowing what you're doing is better than not knowing what you're doing. So the luck of the Irish, I don't know. I would say situational awareness, developing lots and lots of skills, and be ready to pull the trigger when it's time to pull the trigger. and don't hesitate. Once you see that opening, run right through it, because that door or window could very well close. So I recommend strongly that you get the question and answer book. The link is below. And if you like it, do a review on it. I'd appreciate that, because we want the whole world to know what artificial intelligence is and what it is not. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. And I'm taking next week off.